3 years, 7 major rail accidents, over 329 lives lost. That's the track record of the Indian Railways since 2021 under Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw. Questions are being raised. The opposition wants his resignation, and innocent lives continue to be lost. This week, the latest addition to this list was from West Bengal. A goods train collided with the Kolkata-bound Kanchanjunga Express on Sunday. Around 15 people were killed and more than 55 injured. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee condoled the loss of lives. Officials blame human error as the cause of the accident. But how big a question does this raise on the safety of our trains? Are there enough mechanisms in place to avoid such accidents? Hello and welcome to Simply Put. I am Shubham Chohan. Let's get started. On 17 June, Kanchenjunga Express was on its way to Sialda from Tripura's Agartala. At around 8:45 am, when the train was near Rangapani, which is some kilometers away from Jalpaiguri, passengers felt a sudden jerk. Before they could realize, chaos broke out. Many passengers fell off their berths, loud screams were heard as a goods train crashed into the rear end of the passenger train. 4 coaches of the express, including a general compartment, 2 parcel coaches, and the guard van were affected, and meanwhile 5 coaches of the goods train were derailed. One of the coaches even flung into the air. About 150 locals from a nearby village rushed to the spot to rescue as many as they could. In fact, this is what one of them had to say. "I had just returned after offering namaz and everyone in the house was in a mood to celebrate when we suddenly heard a loud sound. I rushed towards the railway tracks near my house and saw the derailed coaches. I saw the loco pilot of the goods train lying under the wheels of the passenger train. By the time I reached him, he was already dead." Distressing stories of victims and their experiences made their way, like Subhajit Mali, a 31-year-old man from Kolkata who was returning home from Siliguri earlier than planned to celebrate his daughter Shishti's 11th birthday. He had promised her a celebration and had spoken to her just before boarding the ill-fated express. The government response, meanwhile, that followed was largely on expected lines. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said an emergency team of doctors and rescue team was dispatched to the site immediately. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw expressed their condolences online. The latter was reportedly monitoring the rescue operations from New Delhi before reaching the spot. In fact, this visual of Mr. Vaishnaw reaching the spot on a motorcycle due to narrow roads was criticized by many online for focusing more on publicity than the victims. Later, Mr. Vaishnaw announced an enhanced compensation to the victims' families: 10 lakh rupees in case of death, 2.5 lakh rupees for grievous injuries, and 50,000 rupees for minor injuries. So what caused the accident? Human error. That's what railway officials say. Initial probe suggests the goods train overshot a signal and then hit the Kanchanjunga Express from behind, which was reportedly going at a slow speed ahead. Now, this accident sparked outrage online. Visuals from the site brought back memories of the horrific tragedy in Odisha's Balasore almost exactly a year ago. Almost 300 people were killed and more than 1,000 were injured when the Correspondent Express collided with a stationary goods train. Now, this was one of the biggest rail tragedies in India in decades. In that case too, officials confirmed that a human error led to the accident. A few months after this, in October 2023, 2 passenger trains collided in Andhra Pradesh. 14 were killed and 50 people were injured. Now here's the thing. Unfortunately, such accidents are not new as far as the Indian Railways is concerned. Numbers from the Indian Railways show a downward trend overall, something which one can take solace from, if at all any. From about 14,700 train accidents between 1960 to 1970 to around 449 between 2015-16 and 21-2022. As per the government, in terms of casualties, the UPA era saw 2,453 lives lost and 4,486 injuries, while the NDA period post-2014 recorded 781 deaths and more than 1,500 injuries. Besides, India boasts of a large railway network. It has the 4th largest network with over 22,500 trains operating, spanning across 68,000 kilometers with a daily passenger count of roughly 24 million. The figures are huge, and so should be the accountability. Which brings us to the next question. Are there no mechanisms in place to stop collisions? There is one. It's something called the Kavach system. Now, this anti-collision system was launched in 2020 by the Modi government. It involves an elaborate communication system and signals between trains and tracks. Through this, if a driver jumps a signal or is within touching distance of a train on the same line, the system will automatically apply a train's brake even if the driver doesn't. Basically, a very promising system that can potentially save lives. The budget allocation just for the Kavach system in financial year 2024 was 710 crores, and in the FY25 interim budget, it was 550 crore rupees. So in 4 years since its launch, what does the progress look like? Less than 5% of the total railway network covered. Reports say the system is deployed only on just about 1500 kilometers and 139 locomotives, and 6000 kilometer has been tendered and is in progress. Neither the Kanchenjunga Express accident nor the Balasore tragedy site was covered under this Kavach system. In short, there's a long way to go. So while on one hand, the Indian Railways gets much needed upgrades like faster and even newer trains like the Vande Bharat, which mind you, have been appreciated by many travelers, one cannot lose sight of safety. And these accidents only serve a periodic reminder to the Railway Minister and the Ministry that accountability can't just be done by passing the buck. Instead, the focus has to be on fast-tracking the safety mechanism. That's all we have for this episode of Simply Put. Do let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.
Stay ahead with our cutting-edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.